So this week we are on our last lab, which is also going to be exploring neural networks using MATLAB. So in today's video, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about neural networks from a sort of big picture conceptual perspective. So neural networks are especially useful when we want to uncover complex relationships between some input and output. And these kinds of models are especially helpful when we're trying to learn complex human-like behavior, like facial recognition and language processing, things that we as humans can do very naturally and without a lot of thought, but that historically have been more challenging from a computational perspective. And so these kinds of models are an example of machine learning, which refers to algorithms that are used to identify patterns in data. And these are data-driven as opposed to hypothesis-driven methods, meaning we're really relying on the computer to identify these different patterns and relationships more so than making specific hypotheses about the kind of relationships we're expecting. One example of applying neural networks is chatbots. So these can take in a complex form of data input, which is written text, and that might have different styles, content length, typos. And so we need to be able to interpret this really complex form of data, and from that, output some kind of appropriate response. We can also apply these methods to facial recognition. So again, we have relatively complex and variable kinds of input, so pictures of faces, and those might be in different lighting, from different angles, different distances from the camera, different pixel dimensions, and so on. And we can train these systems to be able to recognize something consistent, such as a person's identity or a person's age or other factors. And so these are often very complex problems, and complex problems are going to require more complex models. So when we're thinking about these neural networks, we know that we have our input layer, our hidden layers, and our output layer. And there are multiple neurons in each hidden layer. And so we can think about increasing the complexity of these neural networks in a couple ways. One possibility is to increase the number of neurons per layer. And another possibility is to increase the number of hidden layers. So those are some of the parameters that we're going to be playing around with in this lab. But ultimately, we want to identify the simplest possible model that can still perform well. There's no point in just having a complex model if there's a simpler one that can do just as well. So this is a rapidly developing field with a lot of different applications. I just did a quick search on Google Scholar, and here are some more papers that I thought could be interesting if you want to learn more. I'll see you on Wednesday, or if I don't, I hope you all have a great summer.